10-minute daily reality check. Years and years and years ago, in a place far and far away called New York City, I would sit around with my friends and I would soundtrack my life, literally every single night. We'd sit around, we'd have deep talks, conversations, and I would film a lot of these conversations. I think I have some of them in an archive somewhere. Maybe I'll put them out there on the internet. They're pretty interesting. But I always told people all the time that if you can make a soundtrack to your life and share it with people, you'll inspire people. So in the background there's this new music playing called Bloom. The song is called Bloom. The artist is called something strange and weird. Yeah, the Paper Kites. Now, I could make fun of that name. I'm wanting to make fun of that name. Paper kites. It's just, I picture these paper kites fluttering in the air and a bunch of guys going woo, woo, woo. It wouldn't be the name if I had a band. I would not name it the Paper Kites at all. What would you name a band if you had to name a band?
Universal Potential.
Universal Potential. That would be the name of the band, huh?
Yep, it would.
Wow. Universal Potential. What would be one of Universal Potential's songs?
Om.
Om? Everybody knows Om.
Yeah, but you haven't heard it like this before.
All right. All right. I like it. If I was a band, okay?
Yeah.
Because of this year that I've had and last year, I would be like a crooner. You know, David Gray, you know, something just, you know, story about turmoil or my life or, you know, how hard things were. I would be in that type of thing. More of a poet, maybe like a Springsteen. More like poet, because if you think about through all our great lessons in life, right, we can turn it into magical poetry if we choose to. So yeah, my year would be Living Without You. That would be the name of my song. And I would write it to my daughter. What it was like to live without you this year. What it felt like. You know, I think the song one would be January. In January, when she said she wouldn't sleep over and she was having such anxiety around it, I remember going to her room and literally crying. You know, I don't cry. I'm not a crier. And I remember it well. I remember just sitting on her floor because her room is this magical kingdom that every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, every holiday was turned into a little village. So here, the Christmas village was sitting there, and I remember like the joy of us creating, how excited she was the whole weekend to do it, and how we set her room up, and the moment when like I videotaped it. It's a beautiful video of like her in her pajamas, and I knock on her door and I say, hi. She goes, welcome. I said, what's your name? She goes, Layla. And I remember that moment was so strong, going shopping for her. It was a year ago, going shopping for her Christmas presents and getting her all the things she wanted because we took pictures, and I bought all this stuff, and it was like I was spoiling her with things that just made her heart beat. And right after Christmas, that was it. She barely played with her presents. She was sick. And then she just didn't want to stay over. And I remember sitting in her room and I was like, what the fuck? What more can I do? What more can I do? You know, it's like I chose not to be with her mother because I wasn't happy. Over the last 5.5 years, I became my daughter's father and gave her something I never knew I was able to give. Pure love, deep love, just nothing but love, and learning so much about her. It fucking broke my heart. And I would sing or talk about it. That's probably the reason why the music on in the background, because I just feel like it's a song. And then I remember February, it was just dealing with her mother. It was like, just, ugh. That would be another song, Dealing with an Ex. triggered by the ex, dealing with them. You know, when you're co-parenting somebody, you're forced to deal with somebody you really don't want to deal with ever again. That's the ultimate human sacrifice, the ultimate human test. To look in someone's eyes that you no longer really want to look in their eyes, you no longer really particularly even like. Because something happened in the relationship, it just went another direction. Now it went to a point of no return place. And you still have to deal with that person. That is the ultimate human challenge.
And isn't it interesting that 60% of marriages, you know, end in that kind of scenario, and that's what people are choosing. They're opting into as a vehicle for personal transformation. You know, as the opportunity, it is the opportunity for personal transformation and growth to transcend, you know, the limiting beliefs, what doesn't serve, the negative love patterns, to heal, you know, ourselves, what we've brought forth through our families, with our children, and to learn the hard lessons.
Yeah, if it was easy. It's almost staying together is easier.
Yeah.
You know, I can see why people do it. I can take that perspective. Instead of dealing with somebody, at least you're living under the same roof and you don't really want civil war under the house, so you try to make it a little saner for the sake of the children, even though you still have those feelings of not really wanting to be with that person. But you make it work. Because when you're apart, that's when just everything is a bigger challenge. Because you're apart and you're happy that you're apart. And you keep getting brought back into it in different ways, different shapes. It takes on different angles. And then the kids are involved. And that's the power, is to step outside of it. You don't have to like your ex. You don't have to love your ex. You just have to both allow each other to have that opportunity to be with the kid or the kids. That's what it's about. No means, no shape should you ever not support your kid's relationship with their father or their mother.
Yeah.
And that would be a song. Winning your kid back would be a song. Understanding them.
Being patient with them.
Loving them.
Unconditionally.
I mean, I just, when I'm with her, sometimes I look at her and I just think, it goes into my heart. I remember walking the beach in Laguna. You know, I had one overnight with her over the summer, too. And I remember walking on the beach with her in Laguna after she had a meltdown the night before for an hour on FaceTime with her mother, which is the worst invention, FaceTime. Holy shit, it brings the anxiety to the kids. Of course, kids miss their parent. I used to miss my parent at summer camp, and if I saw him on FaceTime, I would have lost it. I would have cried. I would have fucking been in a closet. I would have hated everything that was going on where I was, no matter how good a day I might have had. It just would have made me feel really fucking lost, because I wanted my mommy. So I remember that next morning, her mother called. I ignored it. Texted, I ignored it. Put my phone down, left it in the car. Because my daughter had a meltdown the night before, and she had it. She doesn't know why she can't stay at my house. She doesn't know any of this. She tries to tell me, but she can't tell me. And I remember walking hand in hand on the beach. We went out to lunch together in this little fancy restaurant on the beach in Laguna. It was like a little date. We were drawing, but it was not our average restaurant that we went to. It was kind of like a little romantic little restaurant, you know. It was outdoor cafe. It was sweet. I didn't bring my phone along because I didn't want or desire her mother's energy upon me.
Yeah.
Didn't need it. It was my time with her. Leave her alone. Do your own thing. Everything's always going to be okay. I never think about, like, when Layla's with her mother, is anything bad going to happen? Never. Never. Ever. You know, and it's a beautiful thing. Shit, walking that beach, spending that day looking for dinosaur fossils. I convinced her that there were dinosaur fossils in the rocks. We were looking for teeth at that point. Just, I cherish those moments. I cherish them with everything. That day we all hung out and we chalk painted in the hair.
Yeah.
Going to fairs with her. Went to the doctor there the other day. We just played the whole time while the doctor was talking to my ex. It's just, I won't think about getting robbed of the moments, because the more moments are going to come my way. Because if you think about getting robbed of moments, that's a very lack mindset. That's not abundance at all. People say that. I don't want to miss a moment with my kid. That's lack.
But I think with your circumstances, it's given you an opportunity to value the time you have with her in a new way. You know what I mean? So that it's much more about quality rather than quantity. I think if you really look back on the moments that you brought forth, you can see how rich they were and how many details you've recorded. For someone who doesn't necessarily remember the details, look how much you're recalling from each one. It's like you can take me there. Just, you know, you can paint a picture with how vividly you remember it. And maybe if you had lots of opportunities, you wouldn't take as much care and really be as present. You know, it's like you really have to make the most of what you have, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I make the most of the moment when the moment comes up. And, you know, I'm a storyteller. That's what I do. So that's how I remember those moments. They're stories to me now.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you know, now we're going through a different story. Like the other day, she goes, can we get this from my room? I played that video for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to her, I said, no, I'm standing my ground, my sacred ground.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not buying this swing. Because that conversation I had with her,
Mm-hmm.
when I looked at her and I said to her, we need to talk about this. And I painted that picture of having home again, doing the things, waking up to that. And then I said, the reason why we're not doing your room is because you're not there to enjoy it with me. You're not there to be there with me. You're going back to your mom's. And this room, this house, this everything is meant to be enjoyed by you and I.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do the room. I said, but you can't not leave. You can go back to your mom's after we've enjoyed the room for a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just...
And how did she respond?
She listens.
But did she say okay, or did she say...
Yeah, she understands. She listens, yes. You know, she doesn't know why she can't do it. But she listens, and there's no angst in her. She's actually sitting in the listening.
Mm-hmm.
8-9 months ago, she couldn't sit and listen to it at all. Now she's listening.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm doing it very loving.
But, I mean, what was her response to it? Did she say yes or no?
Yes.
Does she want to do it and
She wants
stay
to
over?
do it. She wants to do it, but she doesn't know why she can't do it. It's like that's where she's coming from.
Mm. But if she wants to do it, why don't you just do it?
Yeah, it's where I come in, like the why don't I just do it? Because the last 2 times I did it, she melted down. Why don't I do it? I don't know why I don't do
Maybe you
it.
have to go through that to get beyond it. What's so bad about having a meltdown? That's a huge opportunity. I think you handled the last, episode of it really well. That's an experience. You're going to have to build that emotional muscle and trust and with her. She has to be able to fall apart with you. To know she's safe.
Well, no, she can fall apart with me, but it becomes I don't mind her falling apart with me.
Yeah.
But it's that fucking FaceTime phone call.
No, but then you just set a boundary. You just don't do that. That doesn't work.
That's the problem, is how do you set a boundary when she's used to it as a child? She's been conditioned to FaceTime her mother. You know, her mother would always say to her all the time, FaceTime me tonight, FaceTime me tonight. She must say it 10 times probably before she even leaves.
So
She's conditioned that way, and that's a conditioning between mother and daughter, whatever it is. So how do you it's not uncondition it, but you have to also fit your perspective into it, and she's got to be broken. It's like you don't have to.
No, I went through this experience with my stepsons, right? I had stepsons for 14 years. And I mean, they're still my stepsons, but they are not living with me anymore. And we went through this when they were little. I mean, they came to me when they were still in diapers and bottles, not even 2 and 4 years old. And, the mother was not amicable, not interested in having a relationship with me or having a relationship with their experience of our home. And even though I invited her to come stay with us, invited her to have dinner, and, was always extending a friendship, but that wasn't an option for her. And so every time the boys would arrive, that night she would call, and they would go into this whole missing their mommy thing. And it would set the tone for the short time that we had to spend together and be a family together. And it was, really, really hard. And I was the one who finally set a boundary. Bill, my husband, was, would just bend to her because of this, exactly what you're talking about, conditioning. He felt guilty, felt like it was in some way wrong to not let them talk to their mom when they got there. And, it was really...
generational programming. That was my mother and my grandmother's shit, too.
Yeah.
So, of course, I triggered that, and, of course, I give into it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So I said, this isn't going to work, and I really considered what would work, what was appropriate. Because I love them, I love my stepsons. They were my blueberry and my peanut. I had my nicknames for them and treated them in a very, very similar way to I treat my own my biological children. The only difference is I really feel it's important to respect the fact that I'm not their mother, and respect their mother, and respect the place that their mother and their father hold in their lives as primary parents. I very much honor that role. And yet the role of the step-parent is sacred and holy. And in some ways I've had a greater impact on them than their own biological parents in some of the core beliefs that I know they hold and how they're showing up in the world. I know that what I've brought to their lives has enriched it so much, and setting those boundaries is really important. We have to honor each other. We have to honor the role of the mother, the biological mother. We have to honor the role of the biological father. We have to honor the role of the boyfriend or the partner or the current wife or husband. It's like each role has value. We show up for each other in these relationships, and we give each other the opportunity and the context to really grow as human beings. Grow into the best version of ourselves. We learn with each other and grow with each other. Each one has value. So I think setting the boundary and asserting the boundary of not having the phone call, because it diminishes the potential of the dynamic that you two are going to have.
It kills the trust building that goes on.
Totally.
Yeah, the other parent should not be interrupting it at all.
Yeah.
That's something that I learned. I would never interrupt or step on my ex's time with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Never. I barely even call Layla,
Mm-hmm.
because 5 minutes on the phone call with her, when she's, she'll eventually want to talk on the phone more.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but to force the kid to get on the phone
Mm-hmm.
is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
She's a kid. I just, when Layla is with her mom, I'd like to let them just do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important for her. It's so important for her to have that time with her mother. It's so important for her that bonding time. It's so important for her to learn the things she needs to learn from a mother.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't need to be thinking about me. I'm not insecure. I don't need to know my daughter's thinking about me when I'm not with her.
Mm-hmm.
That's an insecure fucking thing that people do. Not to be judgmental or anything, but it's really insecure to have to feel that someone's thinking about you. In all relationships, mother-daughter, mother-husband, father-son, I mean, all relationships. Nobody should put that on there because it's a guilt. So that's why I always honor her time. So I deserve that fucking respect back. I deserve all that respect back. And unfortunately, you have to go through courts or lawyers with certain people to get that across. Not my style.
But hasn't it been a growth opportunity for you?
Huge,
right?
Huge.
So in that, you can honor it for what it is.
Oh yeah.
It's the context for personal growth. You called it forth. I think sometimes we have so much resistance to that, like we judge it. It's bad, it's hard, right? But if we could honor it for the opportunity that it is too, it might not be so hard. And then you go through it with dignity, knowing that you're in your process, knowing that you are doing the work. Sometimes the hard work to evolve, to grow as a person. And
it's amazing, actually. It's expensive.
It is expensive. Sometimes it really sucks.
Yeah, it's expensive, but it's also, you got to look at it as it's an investment in yourself.
And in your future.
And in my future, because I invest in myself to stand on my truth. I invest on myself to get that boundary. I invest in myself I'm investing in my relationship with my daughter right now.
For sure.
Is what I'm really doing. Putting an end to something that needs to be put an end to. Starting a new beginning. And stepping up for somebody. Stepping up for my relationship with her, because as a father, there's so much I can do. There's so many things I can teach her. Nobody's going to be her father. I don't care how her mom plays house with a boyfriend. That's her choice. I don't care. They can play house together, and for as long as they want, they can be happy, they can be miserable. Not my concern. I wish the best for them in that endeavor. I really do. Don't step on my time with my daughter. At all. And I think that's a reality lesson for people. Listening to this, thinking that you do not ever, or if you have, you've stepped on other parents' time with the kids, if you've energetically found a way to get in there. Look at your life and say to yourself, you can change that dynamic. You don't have to be that way. You can let go of whatever anger you have towards your ex, whatever story that did not work out, whatever feelings that might be buried somewhere. Get that out. Your daughter, your son, your kids, they're not part of that mess. And support the other parent's relationship with their kid. So important. So important. It means everything. And what I love through this process is that no matter how pissed off I am or how annoying my ex is, still would never step foot on her time with her. At all. I would never wish this on anybody. On anyone. So in that compassion, because I know the tides always turn, because eventually in my daughter's life, she will look and go, I don't want to be with mom at all. I would choose. And it's not easy, because I'm still a New Yorker. The New Yorker would want payback. Fuck you. Yeah, come on, stay, live with me. Go ahead. Don't be part of your life. Don't have a life with mom for a year. 2 years. If I was vindictive, my New York vindictive side would love to say yes to that. But maybe God, the universe, showed me this lesson because it's going to come back to her. So how am I going to act when it comes back to her? Am I going to be compassionate? Because if I'm compassionate, then I've learned from my lesson, and I'm sharing it going, yeah, I'm going to step into a more powerful being. I'm going to vibrate much higher, and I'm going to fucking escort my daughter back to you. Because it's our daughter, not my daughter.
You got it.
Right?
Right.
All right. Mia, how can people find you on an adventure in Costa Rica?
Come find me at rhythmia.com. RYTHMIA.com.
For the rest of you, you all, you know this was a much longer reality check, but 10 minutes turned into 25 tonight. I promise tomorrow I'll go back to 10 or 12. The 25, there was a rant. I was going with a moment, and that moment was pure love for my daughter. And a lot of lessons and a lot of stuff exposed. So, hey, enjoy it. Hopefully it resonated with you.